That is good. If indeed you are the one who is destined to come here, I think you are ready for the Discarmer.
Discarmer?
Yes, the battle shield of the gods, which can be used only by one who knows the true meaning of battle.
Rigor the Legendary Adventure is an interesting hack-and-slash developed by Team Tachyon, Tecmo, and Koei Tecmo, and released in 2002 to PlayStation 2, and later on Nintendo Wii. The game works in a way similar to the first God of War games, but believe it or not, it was released before of the first God of War, and surely was an inspiration in many aspects back then. It's set in an action-adventure style, with a hack-and-slash combat system. In the game the player will face multiple mythological enemies, with a razor-spinning shield that's attached to him, and works just like the blades of Kratos, and despite this game is not as famous as God of War, it's an excellent game to play to this day if you're a fan of this style.
Undead riders! Go, go, go! If we can get to the Darkwatch outpost, we can get some help. And we have to warn them that Lazarus is loose.
Darkwatch is a unique FPS game released in 2005 to PlayStation 2 and Xbox, and it was developed by High Moon Studios and released by Capcom. The game's set in a dark and dangerous universe, mixing horror, western style, and steampunk, what makes it really unique and absolutely immersive. In the game, you're a supernatural bounty hunter, and in this world you gotta face multiple supernatural beings, especially vampires, all that with many different weapons, through a lot of different places, since caves, open-air areas, to insane and dangerous ruins, all that with a lot of charisma and personality, being really immersive and well done. And the game in the end features good mechanics, a dark universe, and a unique experience. Extermination is an original and immersive survival horror released in 2001 only on PlayStation 2, and it was developed by the studio Deep Space. The game is set in an American secret facility located in Antarctica. Your squadron receives a distress call from the mentioned base, called Fort Stewart. The distress call requests an immediate airstrike on the base, but after a problem, your team will be stuck there. Then you must try all you can to survive and overcome the dangerous situation you're all in. This is one of those survival horror games that's better be extremely careful about the enemies. They are strong and relentless, and the game won't give you infinite ammo, really the opposite actually, so it's better to avoid them when you can. If you try to fight everyone, your ammo will run out really fast. God Hand is an charismatic 3D beat-em-up game. It was developed by the studio Clover Studio and released in 2006 to PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3 later. The game's got many fans that absolutely love the game to this day, but I still feel like most of the players don't really know this game. What is sad, it's a very good game, but it's stuck on PlayStation 2 and 3. It's all set in a sorta western-like universe and works like any other beat-em-up. You are in a place filled with enemies. As you beat them, and advance, more will show up, and there's a lot of enemy types. What's fun, you can use the standard fight and also use items in the stages to hit the enemies, all that with a lot of charisma. So if you're searching for a good PlayStation 2 game to play in 2025, try it out. It's really fun.
Those guys are cake.
Not to mention, much sexier than you.
Well, your sexy little friends. They're coming for a dance.
They're still sexier than you are.
Beyond Good and Evil is an insane action-adventure game developed by Ubisoft back then when Ubisoft was among the best ones, and it was released in 2003 to PlayStation 2, Microsoft Windows, Xbox, and GameCube, but today it's available in the new platforms too, so if you decide to play it, the new version shall be really interesting for you. Just a few people knew this game on PlayStation 2, and it was among the best ones of the console for me. It's set in an extremely interesting world. You're Jade, a reporter that's also a martial arts fighter, and she's trying to solve a conspiration about aliens in the planet, and so it starts. It's a beautiful game, with a nice gameplay and a good story. It's linear in some parts and kinda open in others, and is extremely charismatic to the very end, so I highly recommend you to play.
Well, looky here, a new friend.
What? Why? Oh my God! He's coming! Ah!
Siren, or Forbidden Siren, is an strange and absolutely interesting survival horror game that is also mixed with some strategy features too. It was developed by Sony and released in 2006 to PlayStation 2, but it's also available on PlayStation 3, 4, and 5 nowadays, so it's easier to play in the new consoles, and it's an excellent game if you enjoy unique and different games. It tells the story of a remote rural village set in the mountains of Japan. After a secret and bizarre ritual by the inhabitants of that village, it'll all be divided in time and space, and nothing will be the same anymore. Through the game you control many survivors, trying all you can to avoid the attention of the people of the ritual, and all the experience is extremely immersive and scary. I highly recommend you to try it.
Before I ruled, the Roman Empire's invasion of the free world, led by the Emperor Tiberius, mercilessly spread towards our land. We watched helplessly as Athens fell. Send their souls to me.
Spartan Total Warrior is an excellent hack-and-slash game. It was developed by Creative Assembly and released in 2005 to Nintendo GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox, and it's one of those games that mixed the old real Greece also with the mythological part of the old Greece, and it's one of the best games of PlayStation 2 in this style. The gameplay of Spartan Total Warrior is really fun, with combat against soldiers to combat against creatures from the mythology, including some really good boss fights. What makes the experience with the game extremely fun to play from the start to the end, so if you missed it in the past and have the access to the game on a PlayStation 2, GameCube, the original Xbox, or an emulator, it's really fun to play.
We've got to keep them away from the gates.
They mustn't get into the city.
This lever opens the portcullis, so our Spartan reinforcements can get through.
King Leonidas is joining the battle. Watch his back!
Here they come! Looks like a whole legion.
Push them off the walls! Don't let them breach the gates!
Gun is an insane open-world game set in a western United States. If you like Red Dead Redemption, and would like to play something in the same style on PlayStation 2, this is the game. We also have Red Dead Revolver on PlayStation 2, but it's totally different of Red Dead Redemption. Gun is kinda similar, and it was developed by Neversoft, Activision, and released in 2005 to PlayStation 2, Xbox, GameCube, PC, and later on PSP. The game is set in a beautiful and immersive western universe with a good gameplay and fun characters. To fight the enemies you can do it in different ways, with different guns, which there's a lot in the game. Use knives, even use enemies as human cover, what is really fun too, and even play being stealthy when you can. So if you want to try something different in the style of Red Dead, this is a good one.
Get his goal!
Please stay here until I get back.
Q-On is an unique survival horror developed by the famous studio From Software and released in 2004 to PlayStation 2. The game is set in a grisly universe. In the start of the game the player must choose a level. There are two in the start, the one of Ian, a girl, and her sister that goes to the manor in search of their missing father, a famous exorcist called Doman, and the level of Yang, one of the rare exorcist disciples of Doman. When you complete both of the levels, a third level will be unlocked, the one that depicts an exorcist master called Abe no Saimai, and will connect more the stories of the game. The gameplay is kinda similar to the original Resident Evil games, with a lot of charisma and personality, something we can always expect from a From Software game.
Where did this come from?
But I think we'll find out soon enough.
It's me. It's all me. I am best. Bestest guard. Without me, no guarding. All rubbish guarding.
Timesplitters is one of my favorite, or even my favorite first-person shooter game of PlayStation 2. The game was developed by Free Radical Design and released in 2000 to PlayStation 2, but today it's available on PS4 too, and the game got two sequels, Timesplitters 2 and Future Perfect, that are also available on Xbox beyond PlayStation, but the original game only on PlayStation, and it's one of those games that is impossible don't have fun, especially playing with a friend in the split screen. The most interesting thing about this series for me is that each one of the levels are unique, cause it's about time travel, so in a level you're in a futuristic stage, the other one you are in a western universe, and the other in horror-like levels with a lot of guns and unique features of each stage, what is extremely fun.
Callus started the countdown. We gotta get to the missile fast.
Times have I done this? and I still hate it. I swear Abbott's full enough already.
At least when you escort an inmate to death row, you know he's scheduled to get what he deserves.
Ernesto, you can really be a jackass. You know that?
You hear what this one did?
I don't want to know. And you know when
He beat his ex-wife to a bloody pulp. Killed her with his fists.
Look, I said I didn't...
Then he drowned one son in the tub and threw the other out a window. Don't ask me to cry for him.
The Suffering is an unique third-person and also first-person survival horror game, developed by the studio Midway Games, and released in 2004 to PlayStation 2, Nintendo Wii, Xbox, and Windows. You can play the whole game in the perspective you prefer, first or third person, all of them works well. The game begins as silent protagonist Torque is being escorted by Ernesto Alvarez onto death row in Abbott State Penitentiary on Carnate Island off the coast of Maryland, an island with a long and troubled history. Torque has been sentenced to death for murdering his ex-wife and their 2 children, although he claims to have blacked out during the incident and can remember nothing.
Bring the ruckus, motherfucker.
What the fuck you doing, man? Step off!
You need to learn how to use security monitors before progressing to the next training stage. Step into the security control room to learn how to use a monitor.
Red Faction is the first game of a fun shooter series. This one is a first-person shooter game, but there are games that are set in a third-person camera. It was developed by the studio Volition and released in 2001 to PlayStation 2, Windows, and Mac. Join the revolution. Lured to Mars by the Alter Corporation's promise of a better life, thousands have come to seek their fortune and work for the massive mining company. But all is not as it seems. A deadly plague is sweeping through the barracks, and miners suffer daily abuse at the hands of the Alter Guards. Is a revolution on the horizon? A game with multiple weapons, vehicles, and possibilities, really fun to play to this day.
Attention all personnel. Mine M4 has been sealed.
Better run, miner!
Gungrave Overdose is a fun and charismatic third-person shooter game developed by the studio Mastiff and released in 2004 to PlayStation 2, and later, on PlayStation 3. The game mixes cartoon graphics with a fast and dynamic gameplay, with good characters, an interesting story, and nice scenes. So if you're searching for a forgotten, yet very fun third-person shooter PlayStation 2 game, this one may be really interesting for you.
Blake, it's Whitley. What's the situation?
Not good.
What do you mean?
The base is gone, Colonel. It looks like massive explosives damage.
Understood. Keep your team together and get them to shelter as quickly as you can.
The Thing is a unique third-person survival horror game released in 2002, and yes, it's based in the movie with the same name. The game was developed by the studio Black Label Games and released to Xbox, PlayStation 2, and Windows, but recently a remastered version of the game was released to Windows, Xbox One and Series, and PlayStation 4 and 5. You are J.F. Blake, leader of a U.S. Special Forces rescue team sent to investigate the blood-curdling events and enigmatic deaths of the American scientific team that transpired at the Outpost 31 research facility, located in the frozen wastelands of Antarctica. A game with multiple gameplay possibilities that will get you really connected to the story.
Men are dying out there.
You're out of your league here, Blake. This game is just beginning.
Alpha team, prepare for insertion. On my mark. Go, go, go!
Cold Fear is a forgotten but very cool third-person shooter game, mixing combat with survival horror features. It was developed by the studio Darkworks and released in 2005 to Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 2, and Xbox. In a ferocious Arctic storm, distress signals are sent from a mysterious Russian whaler. As leading Coast Guard veteran Tom Hansen, you board to investigate and discover unthinkable horrors lurking beneath the ship's blood-stained decks. Create fatal traps and use shotguns, flamethrowers, or any object you can find to survive. A game with nice graphics and mechanics for its time, really fun to this day.
Change, Marcus. Advance by 2. Anyone else hear that? Negative.
Pre-Christian era Rome. The empire had grown beyond its means, and the rule of the Senate elders had begun to fray at the edges.
Shadow of Rome is an absolutely great game that unfortunately was forgotten by the public and the developers, that was the studio Capcom. It was released in 2005, only on PlayStation 2, and to this day it's only available there. What's really bad, cause this game deserves more attention. Shadow of Rome is an action-adventure game played from a third-person perspective. The game features two forms of combat: close-quarters fighting with melee weapons and vehicular combat in the form of chariot racing. A game with a great combat, insane graphics, and unforgettable moments. If you have the opportunity, play it, you won't forget.
The people of Rome were exhausted, continually defending her from hostile neighboring states.
Nobody's innocent. Justice? It's an illusion. Uncertainty is the only sure thing. Uncertainty creates fear, and fear creates money.
Urban Reign is a 3D beat-em-up video game that was beloved by its fans, but today just a few people remember. The studios that brought us the game were Project Soul and Namco, and it was released in 2005, and so far it's the only version of the game. Urban Reign follows the exploits of brawler-for-hire Brad Hawk, who was hired to find a kidnapped gang member by the swordswoman Shun-Ing Lee. Brad fights his way through the street gangs of Green Harbor, a fortified city in the US. As he does so to get some answers, the true machinations of the protagonists reveal themselves and things become more complicated. A game that's really fun, especially playing with a friend.
Green Harbor. Just another urban labyrinth. The El Dorado. Full of fear to cash in on. Gangs rush in to get their hands on that gold. But those days are over now. My name is Brad Hawk. I'm a professional.
Project Snowblind is a futuristic and technological first-person shooter game. It was developed by the studio Crystal Dynamics and released in 2005 to Xbox, PlayStation 2, and Windows. Experience the dramatic intensity of the front lines of a war through the eyes of the first of a new breed of super soldiers in this gritty and epic first-person action game. An augmented super soldier must stop a renegade regime from eradicating the civilized world. A very fun game for you, fan of PlayStation 2 era, since it's a game that will give you nostalgia of those times, even if you've never played the game.
From your travels, but mesmerized at the sight of Baldur's Gate. Not only a town of myth and legend, but also a place where one can find fame and fortune round every corner. It is night as you enter the city, and it seems...
Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance is a game of this huge and beloved series nowadays that was released in 2001 to PlayStation 2 and other platforms of that time, and today it's also available on PC, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One and Series, and PlayStation 4 and 5. Experience the massively popular world of Baldur's Gate as never before. Dark Alliance thrusts you into an epic Dungeons & Dragons adventure filled with intense action, intricate puzzles and sinister intrigue, where your mastery of cold steel and devastating spells is the only thing between you and ultimate evil. So if you played the masterpiece called Baldur's Gate 3 and wants to explore the classic games of the series, this is a very good one.
Strangely deserted. But you soon discover that the night holds danger as well. And in an instant, that danger is upon you.
Hagar. Indeed. Let's see what our little ambush has won us.
Darling! Son! Our troubles are finally over.
Red Dead Revolver is the first game of the most famous Western series ever, yet this one is still kinda unknown. It's really fun to play. It was developed by Rockstar Games and released in 2004 to PlayStation 2 and Xbox, but today there's a PlayStation 4 version and you can also play on the new Xbox consoles. This is not an open-world game just like Red Dead Redemption. This is a linear third-person shooter with different levels of gameplay. Players may freely explore the small town of Brimstone between levels where they can interact with NPCs throughout the storyline. Players mainly assume the role of bounty hunter Red Harlow, but in some levels they get the chance to control other characters such as English trickshotist Jack Swift, Rancher Annie Stokes, Mexican Army General Javier Diego, and more. So if you like the series and never played this one, it's worth it.
We hit a vein of gold as wide as a locomotive that runs clean through Bear Mountain.
Hey, Pa, where'd you get that?
Isn't she a beaut?
Yeah. Can I hold it?
She's one of a pair, only two in the whole world.
Where's the other one?
My partner Griff has it. We made him up special to symbolize our newfound wealth.
Can I try it out?
One day this fine weapon will be yours. But for now, why don't you take my old pistol? Go on down to the river and practice while I give your ma her gifts.